Blue Apron, Take Back Dinner. Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Liars Club. I'm Felicia Michaels.
And I'm Jessica Whittington. How you doing?
Hey.
And what we do here at the Liars Club, if this is the first time you're joining us, is we have some of our comedy pals come on. We ask them to tell two stories. One is the truth, one is a lie. We try to decide which one is a lie. We'll ask a lot of questions. Don't you two get nervous. We have people playing along on the internet. They'll ask questions. Our on-air producer here, Austin Walker, will relay those concerns or questions, and we're going to have a great time. Also, our co-host today is PUNKIE Johnson, one of the coolest chicks on the planet Earth, and she's taking the place of Jessica. Jessica's doing a show tonight in New Orleans. Hope she has a great time, doesn't drink too much, and get all cranky and hungover.
Was that planned that she would be in New Orleans and we would have one of New Orleans' finest?
You know what? Everything that happens as coincidence is actually a good coincidence sometimes. Yes,
Saints are going to win the Super Bowl.
In my hometown. I want to hold you to that. It looks very bad. Saints can't catch a break, man.
Stranger things have happened.
Saints can't catch a break. But wishing Drew Brees speedy recovery.
Oh, okay.
He'll be all right.
There you go. I have no idea who that is, but here we go. Also joining us and in the booth, working the cameras, is Michael Evans, our other on-air producer. He's going to chime in, and if you hear someone chiming in, know that that's him. By the way, if you're listening to us on a Podbean or iTunes or Spotify or anything like that, wherever you get your podcasting needs, know that we play this game live. We stream live from the Comedy Store's YouTube on Mondays at 4:30 and on most Fridays at 8:30. There you go. Austin, can you please introduce our wonderful guests?
Of course, this fella next to me is on a path to success because he's a door guy right here at the world-famous Comedy Store, which is where all the greats start. He just recently opened for Roast Battle in the Belly Room. He's got poor taste in college football teams, but don't hold that against him. He is Guam Felix.
Yay! That's me.
Poor taste.
Yeah.
Go Noles.
Seminole
Florida
fan.
State Seminoles, baby.
Oh,
All right.
So we got a little tension, but it's okay. I'll deal with it.
It's a rough year for them.
that sounds
Yeah.
like seminar. I wouldn't be afraid.
Or semen hole, whichever. Across from me,
I like how Ron and I are just sitting here politely like,
Like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
big Steelers fan over here. This guy has an album out called Agnostic Holiday. You can download pretty much anywhere you download comedy albums. You may have seen him on the Young Turks or the Jimmy Dore Show, or on his show, Get Your News On with Ron. He is Mr. Ron Placone.
Hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, Ron Placone.
And I went to Indiana University, so when it comes to college football, I'm not.
Yeah.
You know,
You guys
we're
got
not
shellacked.
all that competitive. So
Ohio State put it to you
I
guys.
just kind of watch it for fun of the game, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Now that my vagina is wet, let's move on with all that football talk. Jesus Christ. But why don't we start the stories, and how about you go first, Ron?
Okay, cool. So my story is actually from college. I had a work-study gig where I was an IT person, and the way that worked was in the dormitories, there'd be like a little, front desk area. And if you were the IT person, people would call you with your problems. 99% of the time, they would call when the internet was down, and you would just be like, the internet's down. You just got to wait. But one time I got a call from this guy, and he was talking about a program. Like he was trying to run Microsoft Word or something like that, and it wasn't like finishing, like the program on his computer. And I was like, dude, you just follow the steps. Like you just run it and you hit finish and then it's there. And he's like, no, there's something and it won't happen. There's something with my computer, I'm telling you. And eventually if it escalates to the point where they're really convinced nothing's working, you have to go to their dorm, which I had never had to do before at that point. Show up to this dude's dorm. And I'm a little PO'd because it's like, dude, this is easy. Like, you just hit finish and the program's there.
Oh, my God, you're one of those snotty IT people.
But you just run the program. You just run the program.
But maybe there's other things going on.
Well, there was something
Okay,
else
all
going
right,
on,
I knew
Felicia. There was something else going on. So I get in there, and I'm looking at the screen where it literally just says, finish to complete. And I'm like, dude, you just hit like, why are you having an issue? And he goes... here's what. So he pulls up his web browser. What is going on? He's in the middle of an online poker game, and the stakes are pretty high. He's worried that if he does anything to disrupt his computer, it'll screw up his online poker game. But he needs this program right now. And I'm like, dude, your game's gonna be fine. We can just finish this. It's not gonna disrupt your web browser. You'll eventually have to restart your computer, but you can just do it later. And he's like, I don't think so, bro. And I'm like, trust me. And he's like, I don't think so. So we're going back and forth. Finally, I go, okay, dude, I bet you that it's not going to bother your game, and I'll bet you whatever you got riding on this game. So if it screws up your game, I'll pay you that money. If it doesn't, you owe me whatever money you got riding on this game. And he's like, okay, deal. So I hit finish, program downloads, it's totally fine. So is this game. He reaches into the desk in his dorm. He pulls out this big wad of cash. This dude made a ton of money on online poker. Like college was just a formality for him. He hands me $300 cash and goes, "Thanks for your help." And that was my highest grossing night as an IT work study. I think I made about $5.15 an hour.
Big tip, baby.
Walked out with $300 cash.
Now, did you know him at all? Were
No.
you familiar with him at all, or
No.
seen him around campus, or
No, I mean, it was a big school. I'd never seen him around, and I didn't actually live in the dorm where I did it. Like, you just got assigned a random place, so it wasn't like the dorm where I lived. But yeah, and he kind of went back. He was like, "I don't think you can do that. You can't make." And I was like, "You also can't be playing online poker on our network. So if you want to report me, go ahead, pal."
Right.
And he was like, "All right, fair enough."
Why
So-
was he threatening to squeal on you?
He wasn't threatening to squeal. He was just kind of saying, like, he was nervous that his game was going to get screwed up, and I was kind of losing a little bit of patience with him. So I was like, "I'll bet you whatever you got on this game, it's going to be fine." So he was just sort of like, also mildly frustrated. He was like, "You can't do that," but then,
Do you remember how much he had riding on the game?
well, 300.
Oh,
Yeah, because he had to give
only
me
had-
300.
Oh, he only. Oh,
Yeah, just on that particular game. Because I was like, whatever you got riding. I was thinking it was going to be like $10 or something, by the way. I'm really glad I wasn't wrong. But it was $300. So
Oh,
he
I
just
totally
handed me.
misunderstood that. I thought he gave you like a tip afterwards. I thought when
No.
he said high stakes game, it was like 10 grand or something
No,
like
no,
that.
no. This
Yeah,
was
yeah.
me winning the bet, which it was
Okay.
300.
Okay.
But based
Sorry about
on
that.
everything
Sorry
he had
about
in
that.
his desk, that was probably not a big deal for him.
Do you have any questions? You see any holes in that story, Punkie?
Well, no, I thought it was gonna. Okay, so one thing, I thought he was gonna be a freak.
Yeah.
Open up the door, you was gonna see some shit.
I
like
thought he was just trying to
Yeah.
get you in there and lure you in to do nasty things.
That's
what I was
to
waiting
be
for.
honest, that went through my head too at the time because it was so weird that he was making such a big deal about such a small thing. So I was a little
Was he
unsure.
a big guy?
No, he was just an average sized dude. Just
And two, I thought the stakes were going to be high.
Yeah,
like
I
10
thought it was.
grand.
Yeah,
I was like,
I thought it was
whoa.
going to be a lot higher, the stakes. That's why I assumed that was just a tip.
It's just 300.
Yeah.
It wasn't,
But it's
it wasn't
college, I
that.
dig
But I mean, the dude, like, we talked
Yes.
after because he was like
Uh-huh.
calm after that happened, and he was telling me like, "Yeah, I make a living doing this. I make a good living doing this. I'm paying my own tuition. I don't need a summer job, and my degree is just a formality. This is what I'm
And
gonna
do you
do."
remember his name?
Joe. His first name
really?
was Joe.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm.
his
Well,
first name
that's
was Joe.
Bet it
Not
was
sus-
Joe.
Yeah.
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 Hey,
Was his
Punkie,
last name Mama? Like, come on. Jesus.
I
a good
don't remember his
point.
last name.
It's a good point that, like, I think it seems like you guys were maybe underwhelmed by the $300. You thought the stakes would be higher.
Yeah.
But also,
Yeah.
it's true in college, man. I'm trying to imagine, like, if you're not expecting anything, you make $5.15 an hour.
Yeah.
You come on and be like, dude, he handed me $300 fucking dollars. That's
Yeah.
life-changing money right now for me.
It blew my
In
mind. I
college,
mean,
it would've been insane.
it
Well,
funded beer money for the next a long time.
Life-changing.
I mean, beer's
Beer
cheap in
money.
Indiana, so.
So what year was this around?
I was freshman year.
Yeah.
Oh, what year? It would have been 2004. It would have been my freshman year, and I think it was second semester, so it would have been.
So
04.
it paid off like 2 of his books, basically.
Yes.
Expensive ass college
Well-
books.
One book.
Yeah,
I
one
think
book.
biology books be
Yeah.
$380.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true. I think we have a secret player on our hands because that was a small. Because this is a game after all. It's a podcast too. Because this is a device in which we get you guys to tell us kind of crazy stories, and some of them are awesome and totally true. But I kind of feel like you on purpose took a simple story as a way to manipulate, like, to win the game. Like, you know what I mean?
I didn't know we were competing, actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I did not know
Yeah.
that.
I didn't find any loopholes in his story.
Okay.
That sounded pretty legit to me.
God, that's a first time, Punkie.
But-
Okay.
But now that you're speaking,
Uh-huh.
he can't have something up his little sleeve.
Yeah, I think
You
so.
know?
Yeah.
It's master manipulation. I didn't know we were competing. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
right,
Acting all
right.
dumb and shit.
Yeah. Any questions from online or any thoughts?
Promo Motion says, I didn't have the internet when I was in college. This is making me feel a little bit old. And Travis said, no internet. That sounds like a nightmare. Matthew Bowen says, $300 for an online tournament's fairly high, semi-high stakes.
Oh, it is?
And
Okay.
Leah says, a nightmare was spending 15 minutes trying to connect and your mom picking up the phone to make a call and disconnecting you from the
Oh,
internet.
I remember those days. I remember those days.
Yeah.
Two people are already calling this one. Crazy Stoner says this is a lie. Our friend Melody Martinez is checking in as true with this one already. Hasn't even heard the other stories.
Well,
so.
Crazy Stoner, tell us why you think it is a lie. Because it's so simple.
Well, probably 'cause he's stoned.
Yeah. He's crazy. All right. Well, that's a simple and first good story, and we'll move it on to Guam's.
Yeah, come to think of it, I don't fucking remember internet in college.
Yeah. When did you graduate college?
2008. But by that time, it was internet. But 2003, I don't. Well,
They
it
didn't
was
have, like,
like
laptops and
it was
stuff
like I don't think
No computers in the library?
It was a very, very hard dial up. I'll tell you that. And ain't nobody have time for that shit.
Hey, by the way,
2008.
that'd be about according to an inflation calculator, that'd be about $407 now.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
times
College.
have changed.
It was a
Broke
big deal to
college
me at the
student.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big
That's
deal.
rent. That's half your rent, maybe, in
that's
college.
I
Yeah.
guess you're right.
Yeah.
I guess you're right.
Yeah, I'm really trying to see why this was a lot of money from your perspective. I mean, I think I get it in college, right?
Yeah, I was like 18, 19 years old.
Hell
It was,
yeah,
you
that's
know,
stacked.
it was,
How did you become such an IT person, like so young?
It was so.
glasses.
Well,
The
no,
glasses.
they needed
Yes, the glasses.
They said that kid put him in front of a computer, damn it.
No, it was a work study program. So you got like put into a pool and they would assign you things. So if you had any particular skills, they would just ask. And for me, like I had done an internship the year prior, like just in an office doing like an IT thing. So they were like, "Oh, so you have some IT skills." And like I knew basic rudimentary things. I wasn't like a computer science major, but it was enough that they were like, "Well, you're going to be an on-call guy here." And again, most of my calls were just, "Hey, the internet's down. You just got to wait." Most of my tech instruction was no more complicated than, "Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on?" And in fact, that guy was the only time I ever had to go to a dorm.
Did you ever have a disaster befall you with the internet?
No.
Never once?
No. I mean, I only did it for like 1 or 2 semesters. It was very chill. I spent most of the time reading a book. But one night, made $300.
There you
Hey.
go. There you go. All right, Guam, let's move it on to your first story.
All right, let me give a warning. Don't be eating while I'm telling the story. So,
Lord.
here we go.
Oh, God.
Back in the day when I used to work out all the time.
Wow.
Back in the day.
What day was that?
Yeah, it was like in my 20s, early 20s. Anyways, but I used to always drink these protein shakes. You know, my favorite one was the banana chocolate one. So I would make a big ass shake, drink it, go to the gym, work out. So one day I went to the gym, you know, drank my shake, I'm sitting there working out, and all of a sudden my stomach started bubbling, right? I was like, oh man, I need the bathroom. I need the bathroom so bad. I go to the gym, and it wasn't a really big gym. It was one of those little like annex gyms. They only had one toilet in there, and somebody was in there. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe somebody's in there. So I said, okay, there's a restaurant down the street. So I go out. I started kind of walking kind of fast to this restaurant. It was Jimmy's restaurant on the corner. So I open the door, go to the men's bathroom. One stall, somebody's in that bathroom.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die. This is going to be so bad, right? So in my mind, now all of a sudden it's raining. It only rains, and this happened in San Diego. It only rains like once every like 6-7 months. It starts raining, right? So I'm walking up this big ass hill, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm looking for bushes. I'm looking for anything where I could just, you know, squat real quick and just handle my business, right? So all of a sudden I start sweating and I start freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God, I think it's about to come out. So I panic and I just start sprinting as hard as I can down this alley, right? And I'm like, oh my God, it's coming out. It's coming out. So I jump behind these buildings, right? Like a little parking area. I pull down my pants, I lean up against the wall, and I just start letting it rip, right? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and I look to my right, there's a lady taking out her garbage, and she's looking at me, she's like, what the fuck are you doing, right? And I'm sitting there, and I couldn't stop, because once I started, I couldn't stop, right? So I'm leaning up against the wall, I'm like, oh my God, hurry up. But it just kept on coming out. Before she went back into the house, she threw the trash like down on the floor. Before she went back to the house, she started fucking throwing up next to the door. She was just yakking everywhere. She was just, I was like, oh my God. And luckily for me, the thing about it, the only thing that saved me was I had a workout towel. Because the only thing I could worry about was, you know, I had to wipe myself and clean myself up. So I wiped myself, I threw it down, and I pulled my pants, my shorts back up, and I walked back home. And when I went back to my place, I told my girlfriend at the time the story, and she didn't believe me. She was like, you can try to tell me that you took a shit around the corner from our place because you couldn't make it back to the house? And then she goes, what did you use to wipe yourself with? And I was all like, you know that towel you gave me to work out with? She's like, yep, I used that towel. And she was so mad at me. She's like, you use those workout towels that I bought you. And I said, yep. I said, no, that's the only thing that saved me.
The one that I embroidered your initials on.
Yeah.
You use that one.
And the thing about it, she was clowning me because she said, well, what if they call the police or something? And they just like follow the drip from you going all the way back to the house. Like they do some DNA scientific thing. They're like looking down. They're like, hey, we found a drip. Let's just follow this drip all the way back to this guy's house.
Let me ask you this though, Guam. So you come out of the gym because the bathroom's full, and
Yeah.
then you go to, where did you go next?
I went to a place. It was Jimmy's restaurant down the corner.
And it was closed.
No, it was open.
Uh-huh.
I went in there. Somebody was already using the toilet in there,
Oh,
and they
I
only
see.
had one stall.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as
But
I
the
left,
gym had no stall?
no, they only had one.
Right, but
They only
then
had one
the
stall.
restaurant
Only had one stall, and somebody
that-
was in there.
But why didn't you just go back to the gym? Maybe the person would have left.
I don't.
already.
I thought the distance. I was thinking I can make it back to the house because I was actually only maybe like 5-10 minutes walk away from the house, but my mind was going crazy because it was raining. You know what I'm saying? And all windy, and I was just like, "Am I gonna make it?" And I was seriously looking around like, "I think I'm gonna drop it in a bush somewhere." And there was cars driving by, so I was all like, "I could have just pulled down my pants." And the cars are driving by, and they see some dude squat. You know, I look like some homeless crazy dude.
Right.
So.
Well, one part of me wants to call bullshit on the story, but I don't want to be the queen of.
Okay,
what's
hey,
the
that's
correct
what we're here for,
diarrhea
right?
story either, you know what I mean?
I would want to call bullshit, but I am guilty of shitting outside. And you had a towel. Lucky you.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
receipt paper.
Oh my God. Was it at least
That
like
does not
a
go
Rite Aid
very
receipt,
far.
a real long Rite Aid receipt?
This was back in college when
Yeah.
I don't remember internet.
Just
I
a
don't-
receipt for gum.
It was bad. I had to go. I had nowhere else to go. So
Yeah.
I get shitting on the street.
Yeah, I think some people are listening right now, and they have a story like that too, where
Oh,
they just had to
everyone
pull over
has
in traffic or
a
something and
story
had to
like
go.
that.
Yeah.
Somebody in the control room has 30 of these stories, apparently.
Wow.
Are you sharing all your stories online right now, Michael?
I mean, I don't gotta, you know. Here's the thing, when you're panicking like that and the one stall's taken up, did you consider checking the women's, since it's like, you know,
Oh,
it's either
no.
shit in the women's or it's coming out
I didn't
now,
want
I
to
might
get.
just shit there.
I didn't want to get caught in a woman's back because I knew once I
back
sat
in the day.
down, I was going to be in there for a minute, and I didn't want some lady to go in there, especially the gym, because they probably would have kicked me out of the gym for that. They would have been like, "Sir, what you doing in the women's locker room or something?" You know, or even the restaurant, because there was people in the restaurant. See, and I just happened to. It was a busy restaurant, so when I went in there, I was like, "Oh shit." I was like,
What
"Somebody's-
gym was it? Like was
It was well, it's 24 hours now, but they used to
Okay.
call it Family Fitness back in the day. So
Okay.
Huh.
yeah.
Mm.
Huh. Your thought is, you know, here's the thing, like, if you are in that position,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think at that point you're like, fuck this gym, I gotta use the bathroom. You know what I mean? Like, you get to that point with
Yeah.
like, you know, scratch this off the list and I'll just go to another gym. I don't
Yeah.
know. You know, but I do believe the part about the lady throwing up,
Mhm.
because one time I had this old Labrador named Fonzie, and one time I had these locks in my house where you had to use the key to unlock from the inside. They were like security locks for some reason. And my dog had gotten diarrhea, right? And he had to go to the bathroom, and he was running from door to door. So he was telling me, I got to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't find the key. And so I was like, oh no, where's my key? And I was trying to herd him into a corner, and then he starts doing it, and he freaked out because he thought I was really mad at him, but I was just trying to herd him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then so he ran all the way around the house.
Oh,
Had
my God.
diarrhea all the way around the
Oh,
house.
Making a shit ring.
Yeah,
Oh, my
I know.
goodness.
And then my son, who was 12 at the time, was on top of his bunk bed. He's real skittish like that.
Yeah.
And then he starts throwing up in the bunk bed.
Oh my goodness.
My dog did that too.
Oh, he did.
But I had a
yeah.
big German Shepherd, so
Ooh,
think of that,
yeah.
they think of that diarrhea.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, you got a
yeah.
big ass dog.
Yeah.
I've seen your dog before.
And he was so upset that he did that, but
Yeah,
we
they-
wasn't
yeah,
home.
He, felt
He was like-
bad, yeah.
He was like, "I'm sorry."
He was so
I'm
hurt
sorry.
and sad, but he trapped himself on the side of the shit. He did not want to cross over it.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
So did she call the police or anything after she's finished?
I don't know,
tossing her
but
toots?
I didn't. I actually stopped going to that gym. That's how embarrassed I was. I literally
Why-
stopped going to
why-
that gym
Why?
because I was just
How would they
thinking
have
that
known
somebody. No,
anything?
I was just thinking that somebody was going to see me on camera or somebody. You know, there's surveillance cameras and they were like looking. But back then, it wasn't like now, like how they had the internet, you know, and YouTube and everybody has. Because cell phone, somebody would have caught me. Somebody would have drove by and would have been like, "Look at this
oh my
dude."
God, I hate when you
taking
get trapped on YouTube.
Yeah.
I
with,
take
with
pride
that.
in pissing and shitting on the street.
Pissing's nothing. I'll pee anywhere.
you're
I
from
don't
New
care.
Orleans.
But using the
Yeah.
pretty.
I'm like, shit, I had to shit on the street.
All right. Any comments from the internet?
Leah says she can corroborate because the panic pooper is just absolutely the worst feeling.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't question the logistics of your story because it's like when you really got to go, you don't
not
make the
making
best judgment. You're like, which is closer? I got to get there now. But I'm a little weary that a big gym would have that kind of a bathroom situation.
Yeah.
Well,
That-
He said
that
it was an
doesn't-
annex gym, though. That it was.
Yeah,
a
it was just like a
smaller-
smaller thing.
I can tell you,
All
as
right.
somebody who
Next
has
gym.
to rely on Planet Fitness for showers and things like that, waiting in line at the gym bathroom.
Oh yeah.
Typical.
All right.
Very
Yeah, sometimes
Really?
there's only like 3
Yeah.
stalls and they're just used all the time. Every time I try to go pee or use the toilet, I'm like, Jesus, there's like 3 stalls.
But you
and,
said there was
3
like only one?
Yeah, but this was like back in the day. This was
All
like,
right.
There's only 2
okay,
at Planet
all right.
Fitness Burbank.
Yeah,
Get your
all
shit
right.
together, Planet Fitness Burbank.
Planet
Word
Fitness
up.
yeah, there's
Burbank.
like 300 people in the gym working out.
No, I understand. I mean, I go to 24-hour and but
Christian says, I guess I'm too young because I've never had this happen. And Matthew Bowen says, Matthew
Will you
Bowen
just
says,
wait, mister?
in
Yeah.
due time. In
due time.
In
Yeah,
due
but-
time, maybe.
Be careful what you eat now if you said that.
What?
It's coming. It's going to happen to him now.
Yeah.
Ron, hey, Ron, did you ever have to emergency take a wild shit in someone's house that you were doing IT at?
no. No, I never had to do IT in anyone's house.
You're like,
Oh,
I'll
I
be right
thought-
back.
oh, okay. Wait, what the
Wires.
fuck? All right, anyway.
I like that we've moved the conversation from a gentle diarrhea story to Ron. You ever take a wild shit? All right, Ron. Let's move on to your second story.
All right, so I interned at a record label on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee. The place would later go on to find the Lumineers, but I was
Hey.
there long before that happened.
Okay.
So they were just a struggling little company on Music Row, and it was really cool. Like I was just this long-haired college kid, and Music Row was really chill back then. I would like walk down the street, and I would go into offices and just introduce myself, and it was a really cool situation. I lived in a youth hostel, and I got some roommates
In Nashville?
in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got these roommates, and they were both Swedish girls who came into Nashville because they were also interns, and they were trying to like get their music heard. And one day we were all going to go grocery shopping together, and I was given a project at the office, and I was running a little late. Now this was back when they had a cell phone, but it was for emergencies only. They were like, you can only call if it's an emergency, because it was like an international cell phone, and there was like data issues, especially back then and stuff.
What year is this?
This would have been 2006.
So before you were the IT person.
This was after. The IT
Yeah.
was 2004.
Oh, I thought you said 2008. Sorry.
Oh. But that was when you graduated. You graduated in 2008.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I just try to keep it straight, you know. Catch some fucking lies.
You on it.
I know I'm on it.
Oh my God. You are the worst girl in your career.
So we were going to go grocery shopping, and we were going to meet at the Sony building because it was like one of the bigger buildings in Music Row. It was just a prominent building. So I go into the Sony building, and they're not there because I was a few minutes late. And I thought, like, they're going to wait for me. It was under 10 minutes late. They did not wait for me, though. So I get to the Sony building. They're not there. But what I do see is a bunch of free food. Like, just this big spread of food everywhere. And there was no security. There was no nothing. So I just joined the party. And there's people, and they're all taking food. And then this lady comes up to me, and she goes, "Hey, how do you know Billy?" And I'm like, oh, man, I have no business being here, and now they know. So I'm like, I got to come up with something. So I go, I'm here from New York, and I run an incubator label that's a feeder label for Sony, and we mostly do rock, but we might expand to country. And that's what I'm here for. I actually don't know what's going on. And she goes, oh, well, this is Billy Currington's gold record release party, and he's some country star. I think he's still around. I'm not big on country music, but it was Billy Currington's party. So I'm like, yeah, I'm here from New York. And then she's like, oh, well, please stay as our guest. And she starts introducing me to other people at the party. They're like, yeah, this is, he's in from New York. I made up a fake name. And they're like, yeah, he's in from New York. He works for an incubator label, and they might expand to country. And people were coming up to me. They were like, I manage a band out of Detroit or whatever. I think they might be a good fit. And I didn't want them. This was back when they would still hand you physical demos. So I didn't want to take anything because I was totally, lying about who I was. So I was like, oh, just write down your email. And if we start accepting demos, I'll let you know. So I'm getting food. And I'm not paying attention to anything going on around me. And I turn, and about like 2 feet from me is Billy Currington, and he's holding up his gold record, and there's a bunch of people around, I'd imagine, like his band and his producers and his label and his people, and he just has this big grin on his face, and he goes, "Get in here, buddy," and he pulls me in, and so I just posed with the picture, and it was the cover photo for like some big country magazine. So like a week later, there's like this big gold record photo for Billy Currington, and I'm just there at the end, like going like this with like his team and like a gold record and everyone else who had a business being in that photo, and then just me standing at the end with a thumbs up.
And
Yeah.
did anyone ever find out that you were just the
No.
intern?
Nope. A couple of my friends saw it. No one found out. I just left the party, and then I did call them because it was I thought that was an emergency. I didn't know where they were, so I called my roommates and I'm like, "Hey, where were you guys?" And they were like, "Yeah, we waited. You didn't show up. Sorry, we went shopping without you." And I was like, "Well, I ate." So
Well, what you ate?
oh, they had burgers.
Ooh,
They had fruit. They had they had barbecue. They had it was an impressive spread. I mean,
What was the fake name you used?
Burgers and fruit.
that I do not remember.
Yeah.
I honestly do
How old
not
were you?
remember that. I was 21.
Yeah, I believe that story. I used to work at the radio station. I used to pull that. Even after I stopped being a radio DJ, I would pull that at events. I would just be like, "Yeah, I'm with the Channel 933 broadcasting or something," and they would never even question it. They would just, "Yeah, go ahead." You know what I'm saying? That I'm with the radio station. We're doing whatever, this and that. I totally believe that story.
Where's the picture?
Yeah.
The picture I have not been able to find online in recent years, but I did see it when it came out. It was for like some publication. It wasn't Billboard or anything like that. It was
And
something
you,
smaller.
an IT guy, when you first saw that picture online, didn't think to save it? You, the IT guy?
I know, right? It's
right?
bad.
I know, right? I don't know.
I did not save the photo.
And did you do any other work in the music business?
Nope. I did my internship. It was a lot of fun. It was because the label I was with, they had June Carter Cash and they had John Carter. They didn't have like Johnny, but they had June and they had John Carter the son. And it was right when Walk the Line came out. So like John Carter was like in the office every day, and I'd like see him on TV, and then he'd be in there and he'd be like, "Hey, Ron," and
What was your job at the?
I was
as
an intern.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
what did you do?
I would fill mailers, stuff like that, like send out demos. I sent a lot of stuff to like non-commercial radio, like AAA stations and stuff like that. And what you did back then is you would have to drill the barcodes. You would have to like drill the barcodes out so they couldn't resell it. So I'd just drill a barcode, stuff the envelope, weigh it, post the postage. And that was my gig.
You went to college in Indiana.
I went to Indiana, did
And
an internship.
in college. You were also doing an internship.
You have awoken
in
the beast.
Nashville.
Get
Yep.
on it. Get on it, Austin.
Spent a semester in Nashville,
And also,
Tennessee.
I can't completely swear to this, but what year did you say?
2006.
2006. Johnny Cash was dead well before that, and I think
He was
that
dead in
June Carter
03.
Cash died before him.
She did, yeah. John Carter is still alive. The
Well, how
son
was, you
is
said
who I
June
see.
Carter Cash, I thought was on there.
They had one of her releases was.
Where has
Yeah.
this guy been?
One
Huh?
of-
Dude.
Come on, Florida Gator, get digging his ass.
What was the gold record for a song or an album?
It was for an album. I could not tell you the name of the album. I don't follow that kind of music, but it was Billy Currington. He had an album go gold, and it was like his party
And
celebrating
so
that.
that label had John Carter Cash, you were saying?
The label I was an intern at. This happened at the Sony building.
Right, but the label that you were the intern
They had a
at,
release for June Carter, and they had something from John Carter as well.
and you got to meet John Carter Cash?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I met him a
what
couple
is-
times.
What does he look like?
He actually has red hair. And he
He did.
yeah, he does. You can look him up. Look up John.
We're not allowed to
We're not
Google.
allowed
Oh,
to
you're
Google.
not? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Austin relies on the other people playing along to Google.
And well, they're also not allowed to Google.
Oh, they're not. Okay.
I know what goes
No,
down.
he actually does look like he looks exactly like a mix between Johnny and June. Like he has red hair and he kind of has like a lot of Johnny in his face and yeah.
I believe that story. You know why? Because I did the exact same thing with Janet Jackson. I was like interning at a radio station. I went to a concert, and another radio station had was in charge of that concert. But I was just telling everybody, "Oh, I'm here with Channel 933." So they just like let me in the back, and then I photobombed. Before even photobomb was even knowing. That's when they had the guys with the big ass cameras, like in the backstage, whatever. And I saw her standing there with some other DJs from another radio station. I just kind of like snuck in there and got like on the very corner, like you can see like my hand. I'm like, oh, I'm keeping this picture forever.
Right.
This is when Janet Jackson was like the
buying
shit.
it
You know what I'm
shit.
saying? Like she was doing Rhythm Nation and all that stuff. So
Yeah, but for sure that happens because Sam Tripoli was on here and told a story about he had stumbled across a situation, and it was I think who's the basketball guy that had all the tattoos? Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman.
He
Yeah.
stumbled into like a Dennis Rodman thing where
Yeah.
that he was like at the like some crazy story. So I do see that part happening, but I can't imagine if you were kind of an IT guy and knew some IT stuff that you would be just stuffing envelopes 2 years later at a different internship.
Well, it was a small label, and it was just sort of, I wanted to get experience in the music business, so I just kind of did like whatever they would let me do, and they let me do some cool stuff too. Like I helped write like some publicity sheets and stuff like that. But usually it was just like whatever the label needed
I'm on your
done.
level.
Hey, what's
Yeah,
going on
right.
with Ron here? Ron, it's like if I say this isn't true, that's me going, there's no way he really got $300 for that IT job, and that's not ridiculous at all. These stories both just seem pretty believable.
Both his stories
I'm
do.
starting to think he a damn serial killer.
this is the cover
Yeah.
of the interning in Indiana. It's like all these dead bodies around Indiana University.
And do you know how to play poker, Ron? Do you know how to play
I know
cards?
basic skills of playing
and
cards,
when that
but
guy
I'm
was
not.
playing poker on the internet,
Yeah.
could you see what kind of game they were playing? Was it a type of poker game? Was it,
Oh,
five card draw or like whatever they're called? Like I don't know.
That I would not know.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have had. I've never played it like online. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I've sat at a table a couple times. I have basic skills. I've never done anything more than a $5 buy-in with friends.
Uh-huh.
But yeah,
Wow.
my poker skills are very rudimentary.
What do you think, Austin?
I just knew he had a bet going on a game. I know that
Yeah,
much.
yeah. Austin?
I don't know. I'm a little lost on still why you would be in Nashville.
I know,
College
yeah.
in
Fun
He's
Indiana.
doing like
time.
the forensics. He's all like, this don't
Yeah.
make no sense.
But also
No,
the
I spent a semester doing an internship.
The Jim
I believe
Carter
that.
thing might have tripped you up, but I'm still also a little tripped over in the first story when we asked you what the guy's name was, and you were like,
Joe.
Joe.
Yeah, very
Joe.
true. Yeah. And it
Infamous
seems
Joe.
like the
Joe the poker
second
guy.
story had way more details. The first story, not that many details. You were very vague about a lot
A
of
little
stuff.
more energy that second time.
Yeah.
He was more comfortable
Yeah.
telling that second
Yeah,
one.
but maybe he had more energy because he's trying to sell it.
Maybe
Yeah.
this greasy
All right.
bastard.
And the first story could be true, the beginning, but the end is different. The end didn't end with $300 for a computer.
Yeah.
It ended with somebody's dick getting sucked. That's how it really ended.
How it really ended was he was like, "You got to help me move this body." That's really, I get it. I know how to run the program.
All right. Well, we're going to move on then to Guam's second story.
Okay, like I said, if you're eating, put the food down.
What?
So-
Another diarrhea
No,
story?
no, no.
Okay. I was like, that
This is a
was
very
like,
sexual
damn.
story. I don't know how shy your listeners are, but this is a very sexual story.
They're like,
okay,
finally.
so
I'm like, liar
I was
already.
in high school. Okay, I'm in high school, and my dad was like, "Hey, clean up my room. I want you to dust and vacuum." You know what I'm saying? Just whatever. So I'm in the room and I'm dusting, and I notice that there's like some spider webs in the corner. So I'm like, "Well, shit, let me just step on top of this coffee table and get the spider webs down." So I'm getting the spider webs, and I look down, and there's a video of VHS tape on top of my dad's clothing dresser, on the very high top. And on the thing, it said sweat on it. So I'm all thinking, oh, somebody left like this old like workout video, So, and I was working out at the time. I'm in high school. I play football, whatever. So I grab it. Didn't think nothing of it. I go into my room. Remember, these VCR times. Go in my room, pop the tape in. And all of a sudden, I see a doctor and a nurse sitting on a couch, right? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't think this is a workout video. You know what I'm saying? Because usually they'd be like wearing some aerobic stuff, whatever. So I'm watching the video, and all of a sudden, the nurse gets up. She bends over, right? And the doctor starts eating her ass out, right? I'm a virgin. I know nothing about sex, really. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching this, and I'm like, I got to do that? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Right.
okay, that must be some new thing, right? So I call my girlfriend at the time. She's a virgin. And I'm like, hey, you need to come over. She's like, why? Because I got to try something on you, right?
How old were you then?
I think I was about 16, 17 years old. So still a virgin, very innocent. And
How far had you gotten with your girlfriend at that point?
probably just sucking on some titties. That's about
Yeah.
it. You know, it's different
So you're
time.
just gonna bust out some ass eating right
Well,
after
that's
that?
the thing because I didn't know.
Christ,
Well, think
you
about it.
know
I'm watching a
what I mean?
video.
So come over,
And
I gotta
I'm-
try something.
You know,
You
when
don't
you're in
call
high
and tell
school.
the girl that. You
Well, no,
just
no, no,
invite-
no.
you
That's why I didn't
entice
tell
over
her.
for other things.
No,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what I told her. I told her,
thought you
I said,
you were
come
telling
over.
her. Okay.
I got to try something on you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
You,
okay.
you go from titties to
Yeah,
eating ass real
yeah,
quick.
yeah. So this is what happens. So, you know, we're making out, and she gets naked. I get naked. She's on her back. I literally grab her legs like this, and I pull them all the way forward, right? Now, listen, when I got her like this, I don't even start licking her vagina. I go straight to her butt, and I'm just eating her butthole out, right? And she's literally sitting there like this, and she goes, what the fuck are you doing, right? And I'm like, I'm
True
supposed
story.
to do
True
this.
story. That's a true story.
She goes, I was like, I'm supposed to do this, right? And she's like, who the fuck told you you're supposed to stick your tongue in my butt, right?
The doctor.
Yeah, and I said,
Doctor
I got a video. She's like, what fucking video? Because I didn't know nothing about porn. She didn't know nothing about porn. I go, I watched the video. I found this video in my dad's room. She goes, show me this fucking video. She was mad, right? We're sitting there naked watching this video, right? And so I show her the video, and she's like, oh, okay. So I think we're supposed to do this, right?
Shut up.
So-
Wait, did she say though? Did she say because she did have a right in the beginning to be mad? Did she say like, look, she bent over and he did it from behind? You put me in the change my die.
I know.
But anyways, but this is
real.
the thing. So
If my legs up, I think you about to. I don't
So-
think you're gonna get my ass if my legs up.
but this is the thing though. Check this out. So of course after that incident, we didn't do nothing because we were still virgins, and I told her, okay, I'm gonna wait until I stick my penis in you. You know what I'm saying? Let's try to make it a nice occasion, whatever. So this whole time,
That sounds beautiful.
yeah, no, listen.
Jesus.
So this whole
I
time,
was like, that's poetry. buddy.
yeah. So this whole time, I'm just eating her ass out all the time, right? We end up breaking up, and I start dating other girls in high school, right? So now
she was like, "You guys, he's
no. So what happens is this:
Now you just a
all the
serial
girls,
ass.
yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
all the other girls in high school, I'm the first one to ever do this to them. So they're all freaking out because they don't know either. This was back in the day. Like a lot of people didn't have, there was no internet porn or no cable porn. If you get VHS tapes, you get VHS tapes, right? So now this is the crazy part. 3 years go by.
This is the crazy.
This is the crazy part. 3 years go by, right? One day I wake up. My fucking throat is swollen.
yeah, because you've been
It's
eating
like-
the flora of everyone's intestinal
Yeah,
tract in your
so-
high school. You know what I mean?
Well,
I'm
that
sitting
makes
there,
it sound gross.
And I was all like, and I was sitting there and I was all like, oh my God, I have strep throat or something. I feel really sick. So I really didn't have medical insurance or whatever, right? So I was all like, oh, let me just go to the store and I'll get some cough drops or some, cough medicine or whatever. And I'm just downing the shit. Didn't help. It was getting to the point where I couldn't even drink water. Like I was drinking water, but my throat was closing up. So I told my friend,
You hit
I was
the
like,
wrong ass, dude.
yeah, exactly. So I told my friend, I was like, I could barely talk. I'm like, emergency room. Take me to the emergency room. I go to the emergency room.
I'll eat your ass out.
Now this is where it gets worse. I'm in the
gets
emergency.
worse.
Yeah, it gets worse. I'm in the emergency room, right? And I got a fever of 103, 104. I think I'm gonna die. When you have a fever like that, you literally physically feel like I'm sitting in the bed and I'm like, I'm gonna die, man. And I'm only 21 or something, The doctor looks at me, this and that, and he goes, oh, I know what's going on. He goes, you have an abscess in your throat, right? And he goes, did you know that George Washington, our first president, had an abscess in his throat and he almost died? And the first thing I was thinking was, George Washington used to eat ass? That was the first thing I was thinking, right? So this is the bad part. He's all, listen, we have to cut that open and we have to drain it. So I'm thinking, okay, they're going to give me a shot, anesthesia, knock me the fuck out. They didn't do either of that. I'm sitting there. I knew something was wrong because the nurse started squeezing my arm. She's like, listen, I got to hold you down a little bit, because, whatever, the jerk reflex. So I'm sitting there. He goes, they put something in my mouth that opens my mouth like that at the dentist's office, right? I swear to God, he takes the scalpel and he goes, close your eyes. So I close my eyes. I got my mouth all open. And he pokes the back of my throat with the scalpel and he cuts it open. Then he takes the little vacuum thing and he shoves it in there and he's sucking all that absent shit out of there. The whole time I'm fucking crying, like
It
the
hurt?
worst. Yeah, the worst pain.
Could you feel it draining down your throat?
Yeah, I could feel the vacuum, like pulling all that shit out of there, right? But afterwards, it was crazy because
Oh, that's finally too
Yeah.
much, Ron. The whole fucking story. That's where you're like, I draw the fucking line.
That was like
so the thing was he like drained it all out, and then I was in so much pain I passed out. All I remember was waking up, and they still had to the doctor still had to go in there. I was passed out, and he was sewing the back of my throat up, with the little I don't know what the hell you call it. So I just passed out, and then the next day I woke up and I could tell the total difference. My throat was all open. You know what I'm saying? I could breathe better, and I was all like, and I was just so exhausted because I wasn't eating anything or drinking anything for like 3-4 days. It was about 3 days. So the doctor comes in there and he goes, I got to ask you a question. I'm like, what? And he goes,
You been eating ass?
No, he didn't say it like that. You know what he said? This is what he said. He goes, do you work in construction or do you work like around like at a dump site, or like do you work at a sewage place? And I go, why do you say that? He goes, because people that get those kind of infections are like workers that work in those kind of places, and then they touch shit and then they touch their mouth. So they'll touch something that has that bacteria, you know what I'm saying, like at the waste, and even though they wash their hands or they work in the sewer or whatever, and then they said they touch their mouth and they get that bacteria in their throat. But I wasn't going to tell him, no, doctor, I've just been eating ass for the past 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
You got a teenage daughter in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
You learned it from a doctor in the first place. This all
Yes.
started in
Yeah.
a
Full
doctor's
circle.
office.
Full
Yeah.
circle.
So, and then I just went like cold turkey for like eating ass for at least like 2 years. But then I just got you know what I'm saying? I had this girl that really wanted me to do it to her, so I started doing it. But I was being careful though, because the trick is the saran wrap. That's what they said.
Whoa.
The trick is, no, if you don't, you take saran wrap and
Punky's writing this down right now.
Fucking calls bullshit.
You never use it, Punky. You never done the saran wrap. Come on,
That
Punky.
that is some lesbian shit.
Yeah, no, but that's what somebody told me to do.
But
Yeah.
is there any point in time in all these years that you ever said, you know what? Let me just try eating pussy?
No. I was eating pussy, but the thing about it was this. See, I fucked up because I ran into a stripper, and she was a MILF, and I was DJing at a strip club, and I was cold turkey for the longest time, right? I was cold turkey. Longest time I told myself, hey, listen, don't eat no more ass. This shit almost killed you, right? So then I met this really hot stripper MILF, and she was, you know what she told me? She was a little drunk, and I was DJing at the club.
She told you that her asshole was a virgin.
Oh, no. She just came. She told, this is what she told me. She, because if you work at a strip club, the strippers, they fucking talk so much shit to you. It's ridiculous, right? So I'm sitting there just DJing and stuff. And I was young. I think I was only like, at the time, I probably was 21, barely 21, 22. I was DJing at a strip club. Part-time.
And how old were you when this thing happened in your throat?
I was like in high school. I was like 16, 17 years old.
Damn.
Oh, that happened in high school.
Yeah, that happened in high school.
Well, how many girls by the time you were 17 whose
I don't
ass
know.
had you
No.
pleasure?
Wait, I got that
just
wrong.
to haze all the
I
ass.
started when I
All
was
the ass,
16.
yeah.
No.
Just
I
a
was 19
buffet
when
of
I had the
ass.
surgery.
You were 19?
I was 19 when I had the
Yeah.
surgery. So I went cold turkey 2 years. I was like 21, 22.
Right,
I
no,
did-
all of a
it-
sudden the story is
Yeah.
shifting.
It's a
then.
lot
No.
of a lot of fucking
So-
numbers in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
So no. I just got I'm bad with dates anyways. But
And
this is what broke my cold turkey right here. This is what broke my cold turkey. I'm sitting there DJing, and they hired this really hot MILF lady. Right, she was sexy. She was probably
You really
35.
want to tell this part of the story, right?
Yeah. So no, I have to tell the story.
I mean, she
So
had
I'm
an ass.
DJing, and she keeps on bragging about her husband, and then she goes, "Oh my God," she goes, "When my husband sticks his tongue in my ass, I'll do anything for him." So she's like, "Guam, if you want some girl to do anything, just stick your tongue in her ass, just eat her ass all the time." I'm like, I'm cold turkey right now. Why are you telling me this? Me and her ended up hooking up. That's why I had to break in the street. And then I went right back. It was like crack.
Hell no.
It was
Good-
just like
good
it was
crack.
literally
It was
crack. It was
literally
like
good
crack
crack.
because once I got that one hit again, I was right back to it. Like every girl that I hooked up with, I was doing it.
I'm having a hard time understanding how having a virus makes an abscess in your throat. Like to me, that's odd.
You got to Google that because
Yeah.
Dude,
that shit almost killed me. Like on the
Yeah.
rails, I thought I was gonna die.
All right, what do people say there, Austin?
Leah says, "What a gentleman."
Yeah,
Nice.
Yes.
Hostetter feels kind of bad. He said that you will probably look like a piece of moldy bread back then. So he's glad you got past that. And then there's some puke emojis, and everybody's pointing out that there were way too many unnecessary details in this one.
Okay.
So maybe that leads to the lie. You never know.
Yeah. The only thing also in the beginning of the story you said, you know what I mean, in a way that felt like, here I go, I'm going to start shoveling some shit. I mean, you know what I mean? But it seemed like when you started that story, you were doing what liars do, where they're like, okay, but it's totally truth, right? Like,
Yeah.
like when
And
you're like, you know what I mean, right? You know.
And I ain't never heard no woman in the history of womanship say some way to my heart is eating ass.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know that's a man's fantasy, right? Yeah.
But this
Well,
was
He's like
remember,
an
this
old
was
strip
like-
club MILF, though, right? You said
Yeah,
she's
old
a wild
strip-
broad
yeah.
anyway.
He strikes me as a more shit on the street guy than
Yeah.
eat ass guy.
Hey, Guam, in the beginning, you was somebody, I think Felicia asked you, like, so you're just only eating ass? You go, no, I'm eating pussy too. Are
Yeah.
you performing both, like, say you're with the chick, are you doing, going back and forth during this?
No,
most
no,
of
no.
the time?
I'm being very careful.
You were aware of that
I have a
bacteria.
time limit. I literally will look at time, be
Got a
like, okay,
stopwatch.
I'm like, okay, you get like 10, 15 minutes on the pussy,
Like a
and then you get
toothbrush
like another
timer.
10
all
minutes
right,
on the butt.
all right. Okay, here we
Say,
go.
I'm
you
just
were like
being
a
honest.
masseuse, like you were like, all right, turn over.
Yeah, exactly. I got to eat the pussy first, and then
All
I go do the butt.
Is there any rock that has been unturned about that story? Probably not. All right. So if anybody has any quick questions before we want to do the quick recap from Austin, anybody have any questions? Do you
How
have any
strong was
concerns?
that table you stood on?
Yeah,
Which
that was a
one?
good question because I thought he was going to stand on the table, it was going to break.
Yeah,
you must
you
have
a
been
big
pretty-
old football player looking nigga, and you stand on a table.
Oh no! It's the the coffee table on the side with the little drawer. But it was like, girl, my dad bought that probably in like 1980. It's one of
yeah,
those
they was some-
oak,
they-
solid oak like
probably was
furniture
some
things.
solid-
And at the time, I only weighed like 170 pounds. I'm in high school.
Yeah,
I weighed like
I know.
170. I weigh
She
like
was a big-
250 right now.
You
So
probably looked like The Rock back in the day.
yeah, I had some abs back then in high school. So but it was so crazy because I got hooked on the video. So I would play the video, and I knew I had to go put it back exactly the way it was.
Oh, so this is your kink. This became,
Yeah, that's what my thing. Because my dad was going to be like, if I took it, my dad would have been like, "Hey, who the?" You know what I
Did
mean?
you put it back to the right spot?
Exactly, because it was dusty. It was dusty.
That's-
So it already had the little cute. You know what I'm saying? I could perfectly put it back where my dad had it. But then there was a couple times he put it somewhere else, and I was so pissed because I had to wait for him to leave to work because I was like, Dad, as soon as you leave to work, I'm going to FBI your room and find
never
that
got
damn
caught?
video. No, I never got caught. Never got caught.
Well, congratulations to Ivan Durham, who just learned what eating ass was thanks to your
Yeah.
congratulations.
All right.
And what about you, Ron? You ever eaten the ass out on your IT job?
That's why I got that $300.
The guy was like, you want to make an extra 300?
I got another 300.
When I'm home, I don't want to run errands or have to figure out a meal plan, especially because I have kids. That's why Blue Apron is a great solution. Their chef-designed recipes are easy to follow and give you a balanced, delicious meal. Blue Apron is a quick and easy way to make high-quality meals that everyone can enjoy. Use promo code LIARS to get $30 off your first order. Blue Apron, take back dinner.
All right, Ron's first story. He was an IT guy. He was used to fixing internet problems, but one time this guy calls whose finish button wouldn't let him close a program. He did not go over there for dirty things, Punky, so, don't get distracted by that. He was nervous about his computer crashing because he'd been playing high-stakes poker online on another tab, but they found a way around it. Ron bet the man that he could get the problem fixed and that it wouldn't crash, and he bet him $300. Ron won the $300. Didn't even have to S&D for it. Story number 2, he interned at a record label in Nashville while he was also in college in Indiana, I guess. And this record label he worked at supposedly represented the carcass of June Carter Cash, who was already dead when he was there.
The
where
carcass. Oh, come on, that's June Carter Cash. All of our godmothers. Come on.
where he lived in a youth hostel. So he was going to meet these Swedish roommates of his at the Sony building. Then a lady comes up and says, "Hey, how do you know Billy?" Because he stumbled upon a party for Billy Currington. He lied his way into the party and ended up photobombing Billy on his big magazine cover accidentally. Yeah, that's it.
It was so surprising to hear that Nashville had youth hostels. That to me was surprising.
They're everywhere, though.
No, I think
They're everywhere. Yeah, hostels are everywhere.
Yeah, they got them.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah.
downtown area just like here.
Yeah. Because when I was growing up, I mean, I'm older than you guys. This is where you don't comment. And but I never saw anything like that growing up. And even though Nashville is like a big city, it is in the middle of,
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a bigger subculture in other countries than the
Uh-huh.
U.S., but yeah, a lot of cities in the U.S. has them. I mean, there's a couple just in L.A. alone. I mean, I know
Yeah, I
Hollywood
know
has
LA
one.
and Venice, they used to have a couple.
Venice had
yeah.
one.
Where'd
I
you
think
grow
Santa
up,
Monica
Felicia?
had one.
In Colorado. I was an
Okay.
Army brat, so we lived a little bit everywhere, but in Colorado.
Okay.
Well, any questions online that anybody wants to ask Ron before we vote on these stories?
Everybody's voting right now, and it seems like pretty much everybody's going first story true for Ron.
Huh.
Dude, I guess I'm
The
gonna
money.
go first story true for Ron because I feel like he would have a copy of that photo or at least know how to get to it.
Yes, yes.
'Cause that'd be a fun, not only
Yeah.
like a cool thing to have, it'd be like a really funny story. Like, look, it's a fucking magazine cover.
I was
Yeah.
accidentally in a college football magazine one time because I was at a Gator game and the picture got featured, and somehow my uncle found it was like Maple Street Magazine or something, and I have a copy of that magazine. It's like if it was a big publication, I would think that you would have that.
So which story do you think is the lie?
I think that the second one is the lie because of the June Carter Cash thing. That all tripped me up, and being in Nashville from Indiana, that seems like a strange.
How far is that?
That's pretty.
That's 4 hours.
Hey,
Bloomington,
that's
Indiana,
not-
to Nashville,
you know.
Tennessee. Yeah.
And it
4
was for
hours.
how long the internship?
Driving, yeah. It was just for a semester, so it was
Also,
like
that's I mean
January to
a
April.
4-hour drive to say for a semester is not that ridiculous.
And you said it was in 2006?
yes.
What time? What year did the Lumineers come out?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Those guys blew up.
Yeah,
Jesus
I
Christ.
couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
All right. So you think the first story is a lie, right, Austin?
Yeah.
And Michael, what about you?
I think the second story is
You
a
do?
lie. Second story is a lie.
The
Yeah, I think
Nashville
the second
story's
story's
the
a lie.
second
What'd
Oh,
you
you
say?
think the second
Yeah.
story is
Yeah,
a lie?
yeah.
Yeah, I think the gambling story is true with the
And
$300.
so does everyone else online, pretty much.
Pretty
They
much, yeah.
think the gambling story.
I believe the taking the picture with because I used to work at a radio station,
Right.
so I did something like that. So
Yeah.
that's why I believe that
So
story.
you think the second story?
I
is
believe the
truth?
first story is a lie. The 2nd
Uh-huh.
story is
All right.
true.
And what about you?
I believe the first story is a lie.
Yeah.
Wait, can I get something cleared up about the first story? Where did so you weren't going out on IT jobs? Where did you?
No. It was a call. So like every dorm had like a little like front desk area, and there was like, and I would take calls, and I would only go to like someone's dorm room if it was like an escalated thing, like they couldn't fix it on their own. Like in going to that guy's dorm, Joe, that was the only time I ever actually went to someone's dorm. Everything else, it was just like the internet was out, and I just had to pick up the phone and be like, the internet's out, we just gotta
Right.
wait, or like turn it off and turn it back on. It was basic stuff, like 99% of the time.
How did you get that internship at the music company?
At the music company,
Uh-huh.
through a friend. A friend had interned there like the semester prior to me, and he
Uh-huh.
referred me to it. And
what was that friend's name?
Sam.
Sam. What?
Sam
Sam Smith.
Sam Warbeck was his name.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
believe the second story. Also based on the Billy Currington, probably never did anything gold record.
No, he definitely did. He definitely did, and he definitely
Oh,
would have
that's
been
a
huge.
real person?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he would have been
okay.
huge in 2006.
Well, I know he was in Party for Two with Shania Twain.
Yeah,
Well, really?
I did not know that about
he had a
him.
bunch of big hits, and he definitely would have been that part of the story definitely fits. That he would be doing a gold record release label in 2006. So that's like peak fame. Billy.
See, everyone
Currington.
makes it out like country is the only game in town in Nashville, and that's not actually true. Like there's like Americana, singer-songwriter, like it's kind of all there. So I know very little about
Right,
Main
but
Street
There's
you know that-
rappers. They got rap in Nashville.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
rappers
really?
coming out of Nashville.
Yeah, there's dogfighting, all sorts of stuff.
Do me a favor,
Yeah, just
one
come a little
moment, Michael. Will you turn up Punkie's mic, please? Yeah, there. I don't know if I hear Punkie at all.
You
Here,
sure?
use this. Yeah.
How many? Oh, I can hear myself.
Get
Yeah.
in there. How's it now?
How many credits did you get?
I got
for the intern?
6 credits for the internship.
And I really don't understand college no more. So that's equivalent to you taking how many classes that semester?
That would be like 2 classes basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so which one? So for the first internship as the IT guy, how many credits?
That wasn't an internship. That was like my work study
study.
job.
Oh, work study,
So like I
okay.
basically, you got like
Right.
minimum wage and it went
Uh-huh.
towards tuition.
I'm
It
going to
was
say that the first story is a lie.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm going to say the first story is a lie. So, here we go. Are you
I
ready?
feel like I'm on this island
Is
alone.
this
now.
when I tell?
Which story is the lie?
The first story is the lie.
Yeah.
Fucking Ron. Nice, Ron.
Right. Yes. Yes.
job, man. Good job.
Awesome.
Which
Yeah.
part was the lie? The whole thing.
So- I'm sorry, go on.
So I had a roommate that did a lot of IT stuff in college. So all that is true. Like we definitely had the internet. Like that's all legit. And a friend of mine, he did an IT thing where he would just be on call in different dorms, and he would tell me people would call for the dumbest stuff, and that he never got really an advanced call. I am totally a complete Luddite. I am unqualified to be an IT person on any level whatsoever. Don't let the glasses fool you. So I never.
I
I
totally-
did have a work study gig. I worked at like one of the convenience stores they have on campuses. That was all I did. So yeah, the first story is a lie.
Okay.
It was very believable though.
Thank you.
Well, but it didn't have any details like that second story. But sometimes people, when
Second
they tell
story's
too
true.
many details, you're like, oh yeah, you've been thinking about
Did
this.
your friend really get the $300? Was that?
No, I made that
Okay.
up. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, he's gotten some weird calls. I don't remember like any of the
Yeah.
details about it. This was years ago, but yeah, that part of the story I just made up.
All right. So Austin is going to do his second story.
All right, for Guam's first story, he would make these shakes for himself before going to the gym, and one day he had one, but immediately felt the panic of an emergency poop while he was at the gym. The bathrooms are all clogged up. He finds, well, not clogged up as in clogged, but people in them. So he finds a restaurant, but its bathrooms are also occupied. So he leaves, but it's coming on strong. So he starts defecating on a wall in probably Hollywood somewhere. And this lady sees him, pukes, then he wipes with his gym towel, which really made his girlfriend mad because she just bought them for him. His second story, his dad tells him to clean up some spider webs at the, up on a refrigerator or something back in the day. And while he's up there, he stumbles across a videotape called Sweat. He investigates further and discovers it to be a video where a porn doctor, probably not an MD, performs some booty eating on a nurse. So he assumes he has to do that and tries it out his first time when he's with a girl and traumatizes the poor girl. Then she breaks up with him. So he starts eating all the booties and gets a sore throat, but a doctor sucks all the bad stuff out of his throat, and he never ate another butt for 2 years.
Guam, didn't you say that the way you introduced is you called her up and go, hey, come over here. I got something I got to try on you?
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild,
Yeah.
bro.
Remember, I told you I was like a virgin. Like our whole thing was we were both virgins. So
I like your style anyway, though.
yeah.
Here's the great thing about when Austin reads the recap is I didn't hear you say your dad told you to clean up those spider webs.
No, what
told
happened
him
was
to
that
vacuum
to
and sweep.
vacuum and like dust the room. But when
Uh-huh.
I was dusting, I looked up. I said, "Damn, look at all those
Oh, okay.
spider webs in the corner." So I stood on the
Because
coffee
I'd be
table,
like,
was
that would be fucked up if your
I looked
dad's like,
down.
son, go clean up those spider webs up there.
He's all you virgin. He's all planning it there. He's all. I'm so tired of my son being a virgin. He's
gotta learn somehow.
I gotta motivate him because I don't want to do this talk.
Okay. Well, any people have any thoughts online there?
People are voting. Ken says that the first story is true. Melody thinks that the first story is a lie, so it's kind of split down the middle right now. Raver Basher, who's just tuning in, says eating butt, so kind of trying to figure out how we got on that part of the story. Catch up later, Raver, sorry. And we're waiting on Melody to give these guys some nicknames that are not racist and that I can say without getting Shane Gillis off the air. So.
Oh no,
Yes.
my buddy.
Yeah, long live
That's
Shane
messed
Gillis,
up,
baby.
Shane. We sorry, but
Shout
rooting
out
for
Shane
you,
Gillis.
man.
So my question is, what is that Ken that said he thought the first story was a lie? Is who said that? And when you first said that,
Melody thinks first story's a lie.
why, Melody? That's what I want to know. What
Yeah.
do you think, Punky?
I think the second story is a lie, strictly because a lot of things he said didn't make sense. They did have porn back in the day. Your parents had Channel 52. You had to watch it through the lines. Second, I'm pretty sure your daddy probably did have 52. He probably didn't need that VHS tape. And all your numbers was messed up. First you were 16, then you were 17. Then you had the surgery at 19, then you had the surgery at 21. Then it was back to 19. And you was like, yeah, that was 5 years ago. And I'm like, nah, it's not. If the story is accurate, it was 3 years ago, Guam. But you know what? The second story is a lie.
See, I think the second story is true. I think that it's a universal experience, stealing your parents' VHS porn and making sure it is set right at the exact place. I
Totally,
think
yeah.
that's a very common thing. Yeah, there's just too many things in that story that I feel like that's the true story. I think the first one's the lie. You know,
think something
your
about it's
timeline was a
true.
little foggy, but I think that's just something that we all go through.
It happened so long
know.
ago. I mean,
And you lose track of time when you're really waxing that much booty.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know. It goes faster when you're eating that much ass. Okay?
Yeah.
Or munching on the old leather Cheerio, as Ray
Oh
remembers.
my god. Yeah.
leather cheerio. That's hilarious.
Austin, anybody online? What do they say now?
They are literally split right down the middle. Everybody, or it's half. First think the first story's true. Half think the second story's true. But Ken is saying that his vote's based on on Guam's numbers being messed up in the story.
Yeah.
Thanks to Punkie breaking it down, it kind of swayed his vote. So that's what he's going with. That the second story, the over-detailed story, is the lie. I think.
You know, either way, I'm gonna leave here knowing that Guam has shit outside and he has eaten quite a bit of ass.
Well, there were actually somewhat of wagers taken up in the Comedy Store offices with our friend Emily Rivera, who helps with the show a lot, helps booking the show, because she was sure that that Guam was going to tell a story about having a pen pal relationship with somebody in prison who she just learned about.
Oh yeah.
And
No
I've been
fucking
dying
way.
to hear that story, so we got to vote on this so
Okay.
we can ask him about that.
Okay.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
I do think pieces of the second story is true. I don't think it's all true and whole.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really stuck on the abscess thing. I don't know how an abscess works, but to have that and then him to say no, it was like a bacteria, but maybe that is how an abscess works. But I just can't imagine that a virgin boy would just throw that out on a virgin girl immediately before, you know, any.
And I'm just thinking about your poor penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he doing all this time? You know?
Yeah.
He didn't want no action.
Yeah.
No, well the thing about it was, remember, I'm still in high school. There was the girls I was messing around with. They were kind of like only been with one guy, or they were virgins. So it was all like, and I was shy as shit. So I was I'm the person I am now.
Oh, the ass
Yeah,
eater
I
was
was-
shy.
Hey, well, the thing about it, it's like the thing about it was, remember. Think about this. Imagine if I never saw that video. My whole life would have been different. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have had it. I probably wouldn't have ate ass until I was like 23, 24.
More conversation with women.
Yeah. It's not like I just brained that up. That was just one, like, the dirty little secret that, you know, once I got a girl in the room.
See, that's why I believe it, man. I feel like there were those people growing up where it's just like, yeah, he's kind of quiet, kind of shy, but he eats ass. That's like his thing, and
Right,
he never
yeah.
puts ass.
Kind of quiet, kind of shy.
You
eats
really
ass.
might be a serial killer.
I know, really.
Hey,
Well,
Guam,
you never know, Ron.
when's the last time you ate ass?
Oh, my
Me?
God. Okay, I'm going to be totally honest.
Are you jonesing right
No,
now?
no, no. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm going to be totally honest. It happened a week ago. And before that, it was like maybe 3 months.
So wait, time out. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to prolong this.
It is
So,
sweet, but a misery at
You
the same
ate
time.
ass a month ago.
A week ago.
Did you at least smash?
Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Praise God.
Did you do it in the change my die position, or did you bend her over?
Nah, I bent her over.
There we go.
I bent her over.
That's a good, like a good
wow.
doctor
And but
would.
like a gentleman, I asked first. I asked
You asked to eat
I
ass.
asked to do that to her because I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable. So, you know, in the heat of the moment, I was all like, "Hey, can I, like, you know?"
Eat your ass.
No, I didn't say it like that. I said lick. I didn't say eat.
You said, can I lick your ass?
Yeah, I said, "Hey, can I lick your
Jesus.
ass?" She was like, "Go ahead."
That
Okay.
would kill my boner right there.
I'm just like, oh, okay. At this age, you got to surprise a bitch. You just got to
Yeah.
go for it.
Hey,
You
I ain't got
can't be
nothing to
asking.
lose. I ain't got nothing to lose right now. So.
You know what I love? Ron usually travels in a different circle of comedy. That's pretty like political and lofty, and we're all like, yeah, and then the ass eating. And Ron's like,
Yeah, if you hear the stories
I kinda
back door
like
over here at the
this.
Comedy Store, you'll hear all kinds of crazy stories back there.
I'm gonna say I agree with Punkie that there are elements perhaps of this story. You're probably panicking over a story and you're like, you know, what are my favorite things? Oh, I like to eat ass, and then you kind of came up with some story. But the crux of the story is the VHS tape and doing it to your virgin girlfriend, right? That's the crux of what you're trying to make us believe in the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to say that is the second story is a lie.
Okay.
All right, so Guam. Did everybody vote?
Did everybody vote?
I didn't vote
Okay.
secretly. Fuck. I guess I say I think he shit in the street, dude. I think he did.
Okay.
I think he
Yeah,
must.
so you think the second story is also a
Yeah,
lie?
I guess the second story is a lie. I think he ate his girlfriend's butt younger than you're supposed to, but it didn't happen like that.
Okay.
Sorry.
God damn it, Guam.
I know.
That's part of the game. I'm trying to trick you
No,
guys.
it's
Don't worry,
awesome.
Guam.
Trying to
You're
trick you
awesome. I'm
guys.
judging. It's very relatable. What's
Yeah.
going on.
So which story is the lie?
The story that is a lie is the first story.
God
Oh.
The first story happened to my friend Wayne, the guy that I used to work out with. And I went to the gym and he told me the story and I literally was on the floor laughing so fucking hard. People were like looking like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? I was cry laughing when he told me that story. Cause he was just like, when I went to the gym, he's like, Guam, I got to tell you something. I'm like, what's up? He's all, dude, don't stop drinking those protein shakes. Stop drinking those protein shakes. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, we've been drinking this shit every day for the past like year. He's like, just stop drinking them. Stop drinking them. I'm like, what happened? Then he just told me that story. And I was on the fucking floor. Because then I asked him, I said, dude, where'd you do it? He goes, it was like kind of over there by your place, like in an alley by your place. I said, dude, you shit around my house, you motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was mad. I said, what if my girlfriend saw you or something? She'd be like, hey, I saw Wayne. He was shitting around the corner, like in the street. You know
Was
what
there
I'm
a
saying?
lady who threw up? Was that?
No, that's what he
For
told
your
me.
friend?
That's what he
Okay.
told me. He said that some lady started
There was a
throwing
vomiting
up.
lady.
So
it was
in
like-
our defense, this
Yeah.
story actually can be a damn lie.
No. I don't know if I believe
your friend.
that's a story that he told me because I I said, motherfucker, please tell me. He said, dude, I'm 100% telling you the truth, dude. Like, why would he just come out the blue and tell me some crazy, stupid story? We're at the gym, too. So he told me the fucking story, and I was just on the ground, like, dying. I said, dude, I'm never going to forget that story.
Raver Basher said that story had a funny taste. And shout out Leah going 2 for 2 on that.
Did you
one.
quit drinking that protein?
Oh, yeah, dude, I totally stopped drinking that stuff
That's
after
dangerous to have around.
Because
when
I
you're eating a lot of
got
ass.
hooked on the bars. You know, that's when the bars
Banana
came out.
and chocolate.
So everybody's eating those chocolate, whatever, protein bars. So I was
Matthew-
eating those.
Matthew Bowen says he's going to go brush his teeth real quick. No particular reason, just going to go. So if anybody has any other questions about this, I got to know about the prison pen pal thing while we've got you on.
Okay. Basically, what happened was, how much time do we have?
Yeah, you know what?
How much-
We're
you guys
pretty
want to save
tight
that for
on
another?
time.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that's
we'll
what I don't
save
want
that
to.
for
I
we'll
don't
save
want to
that for
start
another
getting into
time
that.
because we're getting pretty late. I want to say thank you very much, you guys, for joining us. Thank you for everyone for playing along and joining us. And where can people catch you? And what do you guys have shaken or coming up that you would like to share with everybody?
Well, I'm at ronplacone.com. You can follow me on Twitter at ronplacone. Going to be touring Australia in November.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
going to Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide.
Oh, wow.
With Jimmy?
I'm going with Graham Elwood.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
we do a stand-up tour, comedy tour.
Wonderful.
And yeah, so ronplacone.com for those tickets. You can find my YouTube channel there, my show, Get Your News On with Ron. You can catch me on the Jimmy Dore Show and at Ron Placone on Twitter.
Yeah, I recommend watching Ron on the Jimmy Dore Show. I love Jimmy Dore. He makes me so mad, but I learned so much, and he makes me laugh so hard. He's
Yeah,
an
he's
amazing comic, very smart comic, and very, very funny. And what about you, Guam? What do you have shaking?
I'm here at the Comedy Store 5-6 nights a week, so just come by and say hi to me. Either I'm on stage or I'm like working the back door of the patio or something. So just come say hi to me because I'm here.
What about if people came up and they just in your ear were like, ass eater?
Probably. Hey, that might actually get me a date. Watch some milfs come up to me like, hey, I heard that
my God.
podcast, Guam. I need to talk to you after you get off work.
All right, and Punky, what do you have shaken, and what would you like to share with people?
Just holler at me. I'll be at the Comedy Store. I work on Monday nights at the bar. I'm at the Ice House this Thursday night. I haven't got my schedule for the Comedy Store yet. I'm in cahoots, man. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, if you guys ever are in Los Angeles, please come to the Comedy Store and see all these people perform. Punky, I think you're just gonna fucking pop, man. I think your comedy.
man.
It's getting there.
It is your
It's
comedy
coming
is so
along.
fucking
It's getting
on
there.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah, for the record, I feel that way in here too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Appreciate that,
yeah,
buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
Working on it, man.
100%.
It's a torturous
It's
life.
I know it is. It
We
is.
torture ourselves, but we love
it. Yeah, you have your own thing that's just so cool and wonderful and scary to watch all at the same time. No, when you watch someone and you laugh and then you get angry and then you get a little scared and then you laugh, that person's a star, and that's how I feel about you. Congratulations for everything, for everything coming your way, and thank you for joining us.
Oh, hell yeah.
Jessica's
It was a
stay.
pleasure. It
Yeah,
was an honor. I
appreciate
love you,
that.
Jesse.
Yeah, even though you were late. Anyway, okay. And Austin, what about yourself?
I'm the Austin Walker on everything. If you are new and watching today, which I saw there were some new names, please subscribe to our YouTube page, which is The Liars Club. Follow us on Instagram, The Liars Club 1, Twitter, Liars_Club. And you want to stay up on that stuff because we've got a show coming up September 25th, The Late Show in the Belly Room. We've got Tim Dillon and Guy O'Beelam. They're both going to be on there. Probably going to have some special people dropping in, so just be ready. And put October 29th on your calendar, too, because we're going to be here that Tuesday. So
Yeah.
And go
Sounds
Gators
great.
beat Tennessee.
Yeah, please do check out our YouTube page. We have some animations that we've made and are up. We just recently released a Burt Kreischer animation. Michael, what do you have shaken, and what would you like to share with everybody?
Oh, I would like to share to everybody that after the Comedy Store show on the 25th, we're at the Ice House on the 12th, coming of the month after that. And those shows are stacked ass lineups every time, and people should come out to them. I don't tweet. Follow me on Instagram at High Five Michael. I'm at the Improv a couple times a week. I don't know. Yeah, follow me. You'll see all the dates.
Yeah, congratulations for getting on at the Improv. I tell you, if you're getting on at a showcase club here in the Los Angeles area, good things are happening for you. You get
Thank
on
you,
a lot
Felicia.
of shows too, Ron,
Yeah.
and I'm happy for everybody. Do me a big favor. If you have Amazon Prime, please go watch my documentary that I made called Pervs. It has Joey Diaz in it, Felipe Esparza, Sam Tripoli, Paul Provenza, just a
Nice.
plethora of comedians. And I just worked with Paula Poundstone at Comedy Day yesterday. She's
awesome.
so funny. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
and
why-
you were up in San Francisco?
yeah,
Nice. How
Comedy
was
Day.
it?
It was so much fun. Thank you, Debbie Durst, for booking me on that. You guys should do it one time. It's really a lot of fun. Also, I just released my comedy special on Amazon Prime. It's called The Whole Story, and it's a little bit of a different comedy special. It's got jokes in it, but it's also kind of a crazy story involved with it. So give that a look up. And if you do watch those things and you like them, leave a review. And a big shout out to Jessica. I hope you're having a great time on your tour. If you guys are living in Arizona, I believe the Big Pine Festival is happening, and Jessica's going to be on that this weekend. Anyway, I've been Felicia Michaels. You can follow me all across the board. And by the way, you've been lied to.
I'm not telling that.
Will the real liar please stand up?
She's totally serious.
And you have been lied to.